If you've ever gardened before, you've probably had to deal with pests, and sometimes that means snails. In today's video, we're going to show you multiple ways about how to get rid of snails in your garden. The first method we're going to show you is kind of self-explanatory. Obviously, we're going to grab the snails and we're going to get rid of them. It might be the slowest and most time-consuming route to go because we have to pick them all individually, and snails often come out at night or hide under a lot of bush that's hard to get to.
Oh my gosh. You see that?
Yeah, that's like the size of your hand. You got slugs and snails in here, and they're all going into a bag full of salt. I think this method is best paired with other preventative measures, such as just putting deterrents around your garden that will help keep the snails out of the garden in general. But this is a good way just to grab them and get them out immediately. One thing to take note of is that you can see Emily here. She has gloves on. Snails are pretty prone to carrying the Rat Lungworm Disease, which is deadly to humans and is super dangerous. So you wanna make sure that whenever you do touch any of them, make sure you wash your hands really, really good, and make sure if you can to wear gloves. The snails that we are dealing with here in Hawaii are highly invasive. They're called the giant African snail.
A little bee.
And we've got little bees right here. This is our sweet potato patch, and there are bees in our flowers today. This is kind of like a one-by-one process where you're looking for one individually. Another great way to get them all out of your garden, maybe ducks. They are really, really good at getting a bunch of the snails and slugs out of your garden without eating a lot of the plants in your garden. But we don't have ducks. We did find a friend that might be able to lend us ducks if we continue to have this issue. But those are some of the steps that are kind of getting one at a time, is by using those two methods. The next ones are going to be things that we put around the garden that are preventative, things that they don't like or that they're very attracted to that end up killing them. So we'll show you those next. One plant that worked for us pretty well in the beginning was Cuban oregano. We've noticed over time that the snails might have just gotten used to it in our garden because now they're kind of hanging out around the Cuban oregano. So you can give that one a try and see if it works for you. Okay, for our bag method, it looks like we got a good 30 to 40 in here, and they're all in salt. So that'll kill them. We're gonna throw them in the trash. This is what the carnage looks like after a couple hours. And to take all that, drop it in the trash. The next day, welcome to our workshop. We do a lot of things in here, constantly building, but today I just need to use this tool. So this is the multi-tool, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the beer into some containers, dig them down about 2 or 3 inches into the soil, put them around the garden, and then let the snails get attracted to them, go in there, and apparently they just drink themselves to death. Apparently they're super attracted to the yeast smell, so that's what brings them in, and that's what ends up killing them. So I'm gonna try 2 different kinds of beers in order to see maybe if they have a preference or which one they like more. But for it to be a fair fight, I've got 2 different jars we're gonna be putting them in, or containers of the same size. So I've got these 2, which have a similar size bottom, and then I've got these 2, which have pretty similar large rectangular bases. So they have the same amount of size, so this will help isolate the beer, and we'll find out which one's more effective. So I'm gonna use this multi-tool on these and cut them down to about 2 or 3 inches deep. All right, now we've got our 4 containers here. I'm gonna go dig a spot in the garden where we see the most snails and put the beers into each one, and we'll let you know how it goes. All right, so I told you that we're gonna be testing 2 types of beers. Don't technically know if that's true because this is called a hard seltzer. This is a White Claw. I figured in case our snails are hipsters, maybe we want to try this to see if they like it more. But the other one's going to be the OG. This is the Heineken. This is the #1 pick for anyone in Hawaii. This is their go-to beer. And if a snail's going to die the Hawaiian way, they'd want to die drinking Heineken. So we'll see if they like this one more than the hard seltzer. My thought is this is actually a beer, meaning it has a lot more yeast in it, which is actually what attracts the snails. So I think this will be the winner, but who knows? You never know until you test it. We're just going to pop these. And the whole point is for these to go stale. So the longer they sit out in the sun, the more days they're here, the more attractive they should be to the snails. So things that we've been trying in the past is by putting mint plants around, and that helped initially, but now we're seeing it not be that effective. And this is our pepper box. This is the main reason we're doing this. If you can look inside here, you can see a bunch of leaves have been eaten up, and a bunch of our peppers are getting eaten up as well. So I'm definitely gonna put both beer types in here and see how that does. From the pepper box, all the way over there, that's where our sweet potato patch is, and that is our second spot where we're having a lot of snails congregate. As reference, here's our pepper box. Here's where we planted onions recently, and we're gonna put the salt here, which the kind we got are Epsom salts. Online it said that those are a really cheap and affordable way to get a bunch of salt, and to sprinkle it across the whole bed, and hopefully as the snails go across it, they get burned and stung along the way as they hit the salt, and then they'll leave this spot alone. So I've got one here that'll have salt, and one here that'll have salt, which this has a bunch of our tiny little seedlings that we just put in, and we've already lost all of our cilantro that was right there. And then we'll leave these traps out for about 3 to 4 days, and we'll tell you the results. So stick to the end if you want to see which beer did better and how many snails we ended up catching. Beer traps are set. I'm gonna do the salt next, and then it's pretty much a waiting game from here on out. It didn't really say how much salt to spread, so I'm just gonna spread a couple handfuls here and there, and hopefully that'll do the job. All right, I started by spreading it kind of all around, and then I thought, you know, if I can just put it around the perimeter, then the snails can't get in and get closer. But I already know there are some snails in here, so hopefully that'll just kind of deter the ones that are in that area, and they'll just get out of this box altogether. Another way you could do this is, I guess you could just sprinkle it around the outside of your garden box. If you're working with a garden box or a garden, you could just put it around the perimeter. That way they wouldn't get in. But my other thought of why that might be better to just put it on the outside of your garden box is, I don't know what all this salt would do if it's going into the soil. I'm sure that's gonna mess up some of the nutrients or the natural biome that's in the soil. So I don't know, let me know in the comments if you should sprinkle it into the garden box and it mixes into the soil, or if it's better to just do the perimeter. Hopefully we'll get some good opinions on this as well. Well, that's the whole perimeter done with the salt. We'll just have to see if all that salt kills the plants, as well as if we don't see any snails in that box, whether we come out at night and check on them, or if we just see the results of snails in the morning. All right, my hands are all salty. I'm gonna go wash them up, and we'll give you the update in a couple days. Here's the 2-day update. Over by the sweet potatoes, we got 4 in here, and 0 in the white claw. And in the pepper box, we got 4 snails and 3 slugs in the Heineken one. Surprisingly, our white claw one has 3 snails. Here's the Heineken one. Let me do a count. 5 snails, 3 slugs. In the pepper one, and we'll refill that one. In the white claw one, we got, I think, just 3 snails. That was the pepper box. Let's go check the sweet potato box now. Hey girls. The white claw one over here didn't get anything, and the Heineken one definitely got some action. We've got 4 pretty good sized snails. All right, I don't know what the big difference is between Heineken, White Claw, or Bud Light. We don't really drink alcohol here, but I got a bunch of Bud Lights because they're the cheapest at the store, so I'm gonna replace all the ones that we dumped out with Bud Light now.
No.
It's not a drink for you, Bubba. This is for the snails. From the results, we're pretty sure that they don't really like White Claw. I think they like more of the yeast-based stuff, like Heineken and Bud Light. We'll give you one more update after a day or two just to see how these refill after we use the Bud Light. And then that'll be kind of our test. We'll have used the salt, we'll have used the plain just picking method, and then we'll use the beer traps, which seems to be working pretty good. I'll put the tally on the screen of how much the White Claw and how much the Heineken got. We'll see their comparison. All right, well, it's been about 4 or 5 days now, and this entire bed, which has all these little seedlings in it, had the salt sprinkled all around it, and we haven't had a plant go missing yet. So I think the salt is a pretty good preventative measure. As for the beer traps, I think they're the way to go. This is our second time putting this one out, and there's 2 snails in here and 3 snails in this one. As for the sweet potato patch, we did get 2 slugs in here and a slug in this one. So if you're having any issues with pests like slugs in your garden, I think the salt is a really good preventative measure, but it seems like the beer traps are the way to go. You want the ones with really high yeast, like Bud Lights or Heinekens or anything like that, because that's the ones that really attract them. Well, this video took some time and effort, but if you learned something and you appreciate this video, please give it a like and a comment below on things that you've seen work for your garden to keep pests out, like snails and other things. We'd really appreciate it if you subscribed, and hope you have a good day. Thanks, bye.